Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, everyone. Episode 325 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and, I got nothing. Who's with me tonight?
Blake Anglin here, checking in.
Carson here, mayor of Podunk, and what? Did we not condemn that building? Why is there still power? Why is there, what? I hope it's all right.
It is America, so hey. All right, we are here to talk about a game that I have never played, but I felt like I did because I read the strategy guide more than once. Secret of Evermore. Developed by Square USA, published by Square in North America, Nintendo, and PAL regions, and came out in 1995. Yeah.
After Secret of Mana.
That's for sure. You can feel that. You can really feel that. So I always like to start these with our memories of a title. So I kind of jokingly said, I actually have never played this game more than maybe an hour. I got to the bug boss, which is on the cover, and I never got any farther than that. I did read the strategy guide completely more than once, because this is one of those... When I was a kid, I was terrified of video games, but I love video games, but I was scared of them. So a lot of times I would buy strategy guides or things like that, and this was one of the games where I had a strategy guide of, and I would read it cover to cover multiple times, and I knew everything that was coming up in this game. I knew this entire game, but I had never actually played it really. So it was a very surreal experience playing this game for the first time, knowing exactly what was coming up, but never actually have done it before. Carson, what is your history with it?
Yeah, I was there when it came out. I played it, and I enjoyed it, and I beat it once, maybe twice. I don't know if thrice, but yeah, I really liked it. And I probably will still like it if I play it again. But that's just me.
Yeah, you say that now that you would still like it, but yeah. See what you think after listening to us talk about it. And Blake.
So Mike, obviously Secret of Mana is my all-time favorite video game. So this is sort of, it's kind of always held a special place for me. But I was the same boat. I played it tons. I used to watch my cousin play it all the way through, but I myself had never finished it. I actually had sort of gotten to the same spot, the sort of bug boss in the swamp multiple times, maybe a little bit past it. So it was really interesting for me to finally make my way through it. And I'm super excited to talk about it.
And we had someone else join us.
Hello, everyone. This is Joe Larrey, and I am here to tell you about a valuable lesson I learned about this game. Always assume wild wolves is your pet in disguise.
Everything came through, by the way. I thought you were going to say you learned the Games My Mom Found effect when you go back and play an old game that you love.
That I will touch on that as well.
And Joseph, what is your memory of this game?
So my memory of this game was kind of a mix-up. Back in grade school, every once in a while, my mom would get a game for me from the grocery store back in the day when they had physical games you could rent. I know that sounds ancient nowadays, but I had asked for Secret of Mana, and instead she ended up getting me Secret of Evermore. So never actually played Secret of Mana until 20 years later after that, but I did play Secret of Evermore. I really enjoyed it at the time, but you won't get into the games my mom found, effect as this goes on.
I mean, it's a real thing when you go back and play old games that you love. It hasn't happened as much in this show, but it's happened a few times. It's been a while since it's happened. And this is one of those games where, it didn't age particularly well. So for those that don't know, it's an action RPG made by Square, as I already said. It's a top-down game. It follows the Secret of Mana formula in a sense that you hit, but then you also have to recharge your meter. It goes to 100%. You hit again. You get a few different weapons, just like in Secret of Mana. The graphics look like Secret of Mana, just not as colorful.
If I recall correctly, it was Square USA. It was total North American joint.
You can feel that in his DNA.
Especially
you can
with the
really feel
and all the references.
I mean, I do like the idea that it's a guy who gets transported to another world, and then, but he's from our world. I do like that. Oh, what were you going to say, Carson?
I was going to say the concept of the get to 100 and attack again, I call reloading. It's a reload bar.
That's fair.
You attack once, you're reloading, and you attack again. But go on.
You are right. That's a good way to describe it. But I don't like it when I have a melee weapon. I don't care the reasoning. I don't like it with a melee weapon. Bothers me. I don't like it in Secret of Mana. I don't like it in Secret Evermore.
And also, is this the actual man or is it a kid or teenager?
I think it's a teenager.
Teenager.
Really,
It seems to be a kid.
right. Yeah.
He's got the Marty McFly vest on.
Yeah, that's because this is a reference to old movies through in and throughout.
Mm-hmm. Which they didn't
I
have
mean,
the rights for any of them, so they had to do parodies of them.
And that's fine for the most part. Like, I mean, some of it's humorous when he's like, oh, this reminds me of this movie. I mean, there's humor. It's not bad. My issue with this game is very much from 1995. And you can feel it in his DNA. And that is an issue for me. Like, this game is way too hard to me than it should be. I did play it wrong, I found out by watching stuff later. But this game is filled with all the things I don't like. Like, I don't mind the magic system. I'm usually not a magic guy in video games if I can help it. This game, you can't help it. Fine, I accepted that. But how about we make all your magic contain to consumable item that not every merchant can sell you? How about that? Oh, and to make it even better, we're going to lock out the merchants that can sell it to you till near the end of the game. How does that sound, guys?
Yeah.
Well, that's what your dog. Well, that's what your doggo is for, to sniff out ingredients.
He never finds the one you need, though.
No, I also didn't have him on search, hunt, and kill because I needed the help.
Yeah.
He was, well, we'll talk about it later, but the end of the game, whoo! Why even have the boy anymore? Just play as a dog, but I think neither here nor there yet. I mean, I like the concept of this game. I like the concept of a kid runs into a building chasing after his dog and gets warped to what we think is prehistoric time when this game starts out. I mean, you find out he's essentially, in a computer program, I want to say?
Yeah.
I think he's like literally transported to a realm that is built by the people who went there before.
It's built by isn't it built by their memories?
Yes, and imaginations and their hopes and dreams.
But I'm assuming it's not real. Like, I'm assuming it's a digital world.
Probably.
Without any Digimon.
I think there's like a teaser sort of at the end that sort of implies maybe it's real, but it's sort of ambiguous.
Where it teases a sequel we'll never get?
Well, yeah, like at the very, very end, the movie shown is Secret of Evermore, and it's sort of implied that it was all maybe not real, and then there's sort of like a burst of electricity around it that sort of kind of ambiguously implies that maybe it is real. So it's
like in real life, the boy is just on the floor having a fit of electric attack and just imagining all this. But that's probably a cop out.
I mean, I like to see it as he went to wherever the hell he went to, and he survived and made it back. But I mean, there are cool parts of this game. I found out that I don't like it when your merchants are all hidden throughout the world. I do not like that in a game. I found out real fast. Too many merchants in this game are hidden.
It's not ideal.
Do you like trading currencies?
No, I don't.
It's stupid, but it's fine because it only really became an issue at one point in this game when I'm redoing. But no, it's I don't like it either. I'm with you. But it actually wasn't one of my complaints. And to go back to what you said about the dogs, so you essentially have your one player you take care of, which is the boy. Then you have a dog, which is AI controlled with you. Or I'm assuming it could be two players if you had a second person.
Yes, it can. Yes, it can.
You can actually switch to control. You can control the dog.
Yes.
You can, but the game is not multiplayer, however.
Oh, it's not?
It is not.
Wow.
I thought it was co-op.
Not multiplayer. Unlike Secret of Mana, this is not a multiplayer title.
That's cool.
I mean, I guess there is a couple parts where you don't have the dog, but in Secret of Mana, you start the game out with only one character. It's just stupid.
Exactly. Yeah.
See, Secret of Mana's better again.
Secret of Mana is obviously a far superior game, but this has its charms and some really cool points throughout, along with some baffling design decisions and absolutely hellish labyrinthine maps at points.
Yeah.
I mean, Phoebe, who you will hear later in this episode, who couldn't be here during the main recording, she was like, that's what Square did at the time, in 95. But I can attest that Square made one of the greatest games ever created in 95. And that doesn't have mazes, really.
Yeah, and then they made another one the year prior in 94.
The FF5? Or is that 6?
Yeah, Final Fantasy 3 or 6, yeah.
Okay, that doesn't have mazes really either, except for like 1 or 2.
Not like this.
No, there's too many mazes, and it feels like it's following that idea that we need to make this game complicated so you don't rent it and you buy it.
Yeah.
It has to be that bullshit that's in here. Because it's baffling how many mazes there are in this game. It is too many. I didn't count, but it's well over 10. Has to be. And that's a bit ridiculous.
They were trying to outdo
probably like
Zelda.
2 or 3 per section, maybe.
It's insane.
More
and too many teleporter mazes at that.
Yeah, there's that.
Which is even worse.
Everything is a maze in this game. Hell, they have a maze where you run through vents for zero runs. They have a maze
The
where
sewer maze. That was fun.
Yes. Then they have more than one, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Like, you don't need that. And it's just like, why are you doing this to me? There were multiple times when I had to look up a walkthrough to figure out what the fuck I was doing because I just couldn't figure out my way through a maze. And I had to literally just read, go right, go left, go north. Hell, they even do the Lost Woods in this game more than one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah, playing this without a guide would be just absolutely horrendous.
And the worst part about the Dark Woods, when you do that part, even though that part was kind of cool, it doesn't like in Zelda. They're at least smart enough to say, "Hey, listen for this." Or there's some kind of key usually in every Zelda game. There was no key to where to go other than little goblins would be on the branches, which would be nice, but sometimes they aren't even there when you go in the right way either.
Interesting. I did notice every single time when I was on the right path, for what it's worth, when I played. It doesn't make it that much better, don't get me wrong, and it doesn't tell you that that's a mechanic to look for, so it's essentially useless for most people without a guide.
Yeah, and crossing the desert is one of those, I think.
It is. It's just never ending. It just keeps going on.
Mm-hmm. It makes you think that you're not supposed to do it.
Yeah, I think it's like every 2 or 3 direction, well, like one or two panels will just repeat and keep you there to extend the
desert. You just run north, but the part that it tricks you in is that there's a skeleton that says, "Hey, if you have an amulet, I'll take you across," and there is a guy that will sell you an amulet in town for 10,000, which you do not have. Nor can you farm in any reasonable manner, and that is a bit ridiculous too, because it makes you think you're supposed to just farm for hours and hours and hours if you didn't know better.
It's not ideal.
I think like that once, and the guy, the bone guy who ferries you does a couple of dumb jokes.
Yeah, it's definitely worth taking the trip at least once.
Yeah, I did it a couple times because I had money later in this game, and I had amulets, because you do get them from different places here and there, and you do need them for a few things.
Yeah, speaking of that section too, what do you think of the whole bizarre trading thing before you go to the palace?
I love it. I think it obviously suffers from the same problems that the rest of the game is and it's like tedious and hard to parse often, but that I thought the idea itself was so cool and implemented just a little bit better. Like could have been. I think it's a highlight of the game in a lot of ways, except it's also insufferable like so many other portions of the game.
And I think it's also timed as well.
It's timed,
the first time it is.
You can go back and finish it if you didn't.
Correct.
So that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But it is stupid in the aspect of it's some of the stuff they want is hard to piece together, like the statue and a couple other things. Like they're just hard to get. I don't know. It was a very, very confusing trading side quest, and I don't understand why it's there.
Yeah, apparently you can find everything people want there.
You can if you have enough gold.
Yeah.
You can, yes.
Still annoying, but yes. It doesn't take that part away from me.
What's your favorite dog form?
A toaster dog is so damn powerful.
Yeah, I'm going to go with toaster dog.
Yep, same.
For aesthetics, I like Gothica dog. I think, Gothica. I like that dog. The Anubis looking thing.
No, that's the poodle.
Poodle, yeah.
Poodle Gothica? I don't like the poodle. The second world, I like that.
Is the greyhound or the Anubis dog, yeah.
He's cool. But the toaster beats everybody.
I'm kind of partial to the first dog, the Big Wolf. Big Boof. Yeah, what's your favorite spell? Alchemy, let's talk about alchemy.
Crush. It's got to be Crush.
Crush I don't have a favorite.
So elite.
I'm going to go with the very Mike opinion. Heal. Heal is my favorite.
Yeah.
I leveled that up pretty high.
I like Atlas because it increases your strength and it turns your guy into a big buff and then shrinks him back down.
Yeah.
See, that's another issue with this game. You can skip a lot of alchemy, not on purpose, because they're hidden.
It's very tough to find all the alchemies without a guide, if not impossible.
Yeah, and I had a guide and I still missed some. I just couldn't figure out what they were doing because I didn't read everything. I tried to play the game, just play the game.
It's very difficult.
No, it's too hard. That's my biggest
Crush is absolutely elite, however, and Lance is another good one that's very easy to miss, but is really good. The alchemy system, I think, in general, it's just, again, you could describe this whole fucking game like this. It's such a cool idea, and the concept is great, and it just devolves into tedious nonsense for no reason when it could be so much more enjoyable.
Yep.
But the idea is great. I do love that idea of foraging and I think it is a neat touch that a lot of it sort of makes sense in universe. You know, you'll find wax and like this where you might expect to find it, or coal near volcanoes and that sort of stuff. So there is like a touch of sort of realism to it, and your dog
and your dog can find. Yeah, we probably talked about it earlier or off mic or whatnot. But yeah, the dog can sniff and find ingredients, and let you know where ingredients are.
But I don't like it.
It's a nice touch.
I don't know. There were just so many things in this game where I was irritated, and I didn't like that I was irritated. One thing that really upset me, which Secret of Mana does this, and I don't know why a game that came out 2 years later didn't know how to do this. So you get 4 different weapons: sword, spear, axe,
bazooka.
Yeah, sword, spear, axe.
The bazooka, right?
The bazooka.
Yeah.
Oh, that is? It's only 3 different tiers? Yeah, sword, spear,
3
axe.
sorts of weapons plus a bazooka.
Okay, but the sword, spear, and axe you can level up. But instead of doing it the Secret Mana way, where as you level up the weapon, it keeps its level, no, each weapon of the 4 you get per item have their own level system, which I'm like, this is stupid. That really upset me. And because you can't charge it. And later on in this game, not even later on, early in this game, the only way for me to really kill enemies easily was to hit them with a charge attack. If I didn't hit them with a charge attack, they weren't going to die.
Yeah, one of the bosses you need the charge attack to even hit it.
Yeah.
With the spear and lance, you cannot beat the Rat King in Gothica without your current lance up to level 2.
Also, that Rat King is optional.
No, I think you're supposed to beat him.
You're supposed to, yes, but he is optional. He's not supposed to be optional, but he's optional.
Yeah, apparently, but he can't be skipped.
I was watching a speed run, and they talked about how if you go, you can go in a certain. I was watching some kind of YouTube video, and they said that if you go in that area where he's at, then leave, you can backtrack, and then a door will be open way back.
Yes.
Yeah,
you're
go in that room.
If you try to go back and fight the boss, it'll lock it if you exploit that sort of skill.
Oh, really?
So, there's actually a few times in this game you can soft lock yourself, including once that happened to me, which is aggravating to say the least.
Was it with with some bridges?
The stone bridges in the Hall of Colossia, and then you can do that by skipping the boss. And there's also another one inside the keep. At one point, you have to open up all the jail cells inside the Ebon Keep to sort of. They all have monsters in them, and the last one you open lets you in. But if you save the one of them specifically for last, it's glitched, and your game is then sort of locked forever.
Wow.
Yeah. 3 separate times in the game that at least that I know of, you could soft lock yourself.
I did not know that.
Yeah, this game has problems.
Yeah.
I don't like stuff like that at all. Like, this game had a lot of problems for me. It was not a fun experience most of the playthrough. And I watched the speed run.
A lot of tedium.
Yeah, there's too much of it, and it's just it should. Because it's a very cool and unique game. Cool concept. I like the graphics. I like the music. I played most of this game with sound. The
music's great. The opening theme is bumping.
It's too tedious. So, like, the 2 people that I've talked to, they're like, man, like, Phoebe was like, man, this game is still great. I'm like, her answer was no. And I'm like, that. I think if, people who revisit this game will realize, oh, this is not what I thought it was. I mean, it's a cool concept. The idea of the 4 different worlds, like prehistory, it's supposed to be like a Roman, it feels like Roman Egyptian. Then you have more Middle Ages, and then you have the future. They are cool.
Yeah, you have prehistoric, you have the adventure section, which is like archaeology, Egyptian, Roman, whatnot. And then you got your Gothica, your Victorian, Edwardian, whatever, Middle Ages. And you got the future.
I think the future was great. It was a good world. I liked all the worlds, and I liked the sprites, and I liked the designs. It just too often I felt under-leveled, and I didn't feel like I was, but pretty sure I was under-leveled. And I did kill a lot.
It's a difficult game, I'd say. I mean, for sure. And you can't really power level too much. I don't think the benefits are relatively negligible.
You could, when you get Crush, you could power level that pretty quickly.
Yeah, leveling the spells, yes. Your character levels is I meant, but yeah, leveling spells makes a huge difference.
Yeah, you would level yourself, your weapons, and your spells. So,
And to me, it's like you're in a party of 2 people, and yet I felt like I grinded more in this game than I've grinded in like any previous RPG around this time. It's kind of insane.
yeah, back in the day, I think I would set my dog to charge the level 3 while searching, then search, and he was the tank, basically.
Dog is really good.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a real one for sure.
He's the better
What'd you name
character
him?
in this game.
What'd you name your dog?
My character's name was Tits McGee, and my dog was Son of a Bitch.
My character was Lone, and my dog was Copper. And Copper was named after my first dog I had when I was younger because of a movie.
The one.
Go ahead, Carson.
I would usually put my name in whatever dog I had currently. Like right now, I'm doing a playthrough real quick, or playing right now, and I just named my dog Levi from my German Shepherd we have at our house.
Yeah, my character, I just used Bass for character name, and then my dog, I just named him Otto, which is named after my dog. I didn't get creative with it.
I don't think any of us got that creative with it, so Lone is just one of the names I use for myself.
I'll tell you what, you guys may not have known this. If you name your character Fuck, this is true. The guy that crosses the desert for you will charge you 3 amulets of annihilation instead of 1.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's
for
hilarious.
Sure. Yeah.
They're like, we know.
Right. I mean, yeah, clearly. And that's the only change in the game.
Oh, that's pretty damn funny.
Mm-hmm.
This game had a lot of bosses, too, which I normally like in video games from this time, but I did not like it in here. There were too many bosses, it felt like, because every boss was just a painful experience for me.
The difficulty's all over the place with the bosses.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like I can't remember if it was like the first or second boss, but that snake boss. Not that it's a hard
snake boss to get.
Yeah, they get the.
Yeah, he's very tough.
Yeah, to get the mud pepper for levitation.
Damage sponge. You can just wail on him forever. And nothing happens to him.
That's why you gotta level up your spear to hit him from range.
You do, but still, even if you have it like
still a lot.
3, it still takes a lot. And I even looked it up online. He has more health than any of the bosses until you get to like the squid boss. So I don't know.
It's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know why they have such a high level boss at the very start. It's just a very.
So you don't rent the game?
Yeah, but how many people probably just said screw it and quit?
But hey, at least you didn't beat the game on a rental period, Joe. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think I did. I just rented multiple times, or I think I beat it in a week.
Nintendo doesn't like that.
That's what we had. That's what we had back in the day. We had all the time in the world.
It's called being children.
I know.
Sometimes I miss it. Not often, but sometimes I'm like,
But no,
it's just the way that games are at the time.
They're either damage sponges or when you start powering up some of the alchemy spells, you just break the game. There's like no middle ground balance to it. It's either too difficult or just insanely easy.
I would have enjoyed it more when it came to the leveling if the spells didn't cost me items. Because unfortunately, stuff like that, especially things I can't just readily buy at every merchant, it triggers something in my brain I do not like. And that was one of my big issues.
I think that may be a response to Secret of Mana, because one of the big things to do while leveling your magic there is to just spend all your MP, go to an inn, rinse and repeat, and level up your. I
do it all the time, and I'm completely happy with it. But I did not like it in this game. It bothered me here.
There's always the weird push-pull when like your resources are limited, but you need to use those to for your own benefit. And like it's a trope at this point of like ending RPGs with like those are my retirement elixirs, and this definitely pushes that to like its natural conclusion.
Yes, but for me with the spells, it was more of I don't want to waste these spells since I don't know where to get the resources.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, and that, like, if I could have just bought it at a local merchant, I am the kind of guy, like, even though, like, yes, I like how Secret Man does it, where you go to the inn back and forth, especially if you find a free inn. I played Secret Man, I did that for almost all the spells. I get it. But, like, in this game, the fact that it's going to cost me items that I can't go readily buy. Like, I would have no problem go farm enemies, get money, buy more items, do the spells, level up the spells, fight more enemies. I have no problem with that chain of events. But when I have to look for the merchant that sells me a particular element that I need for my alchemy, my response is fuck you.
And he's hidden, and you have to use the levitate spell that you use like 2 times in this whole game.
That's when the word fuck you comes a lot even more towards the game. Again, that was another one of the issues. And the spells are weak if you don't level them up.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I just remembered.
It's just not, it's too much. Because I like spells in this game, but I don't like the fact that, like, I only want to use them for bosses because I feel like I'm wasting items if I use them on an enemy.
I just remembered playing this. There's some special items called relics that you that are probably called relics or whatnot, or maybe key items that give you special abilities, like the one that'll let you sprint.
Yeah. That's so weird that you have to find a relic to just sprint.
Well, that's what they did in Final Fantasy VI. You had to sprint.
I know it is.
But to be fair, in 6, you go into a building and you have a little funny scene where a guy runs into a wall and it tells you, hey, you should buy some sprint shoes. Plus 6 does no wrong, so that's a perfect game. 6 and Chrono Trigger, I love those games. But that's neither here nor there. But I mean, that one is fine because the game kind of forcibly and gives it to you. But later on, you have to talk to a certain merchant, right? Joe, do you remember?
Side note, speaking of 6, the characters from 6 are actually in this game.
Yes. Some. And the ones they pick,
I forgot. I never saw them.
Coliseum when you're forced into jail.
Crowd.
Yeah, they're in the crowd, but they're shadowy, so they're hard to tell. And they pick some random ones too.
And of course, Cecil from Final Fantasy IV plays a surprisingly large role in this game.
That was cool.
That was cool.
That was, even though it doesn't make any sense because Cecil should be a paladin by the time he left Baron, not a Dark Knight still, with obviously a Dark Knight helmet, but hey, that's a very cool little thing and it made me have a big smile on my face.
Well, he can switch, remember?
Not in the original version. Once he becomes a paladin, he gives up his dark powers.
Yeah.
He forsakes the devil and joins the Lord. Essentially was a reference to it. Felt like, but I want to say I love FF4, but that we'll see about that when I play it here in a couple months. How I feel.
Which version are you playing? It's gonna be the real question.
The new remastered one. I forgot what it's called. Pixel Remaster.
Pixel Remaster. Okay.
I'm playing the OG.
I was gonna play the PSP version, but
I have that version. That's a good version.
I have it too. I bought the day it came out and was really excited to finally play through the game again. And it's been how many years since that game came out? I still have yet to do it. So
I do have a question. Did you play the After Years?
I've never touched the After Years. I have never touched the Interlude. That's a big reason why we're doing FF4, so I can play both of those.
I want to try the 360 remake, the 3DS.
3DS one?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it did it in the style of the Final Fantasy 3 remake.
Yeah, I heard it's tough, but I want to try it.
What do you guys think of like the general combat in this game? Because either I was just doing terrible or the game just hated me because I was always missing every time I would do a hit.
Well, are you waiting for it to reload or are you just swinging?
No, I would wait for it to reload because if you try swinging before it's fully reloaded, it doesn't do anything. So I was just waiting for it to reload and it was like, miss. Oh, dude hits you. You lose 50 HP. I'm like, well, how? Also,
yeah, I had a lot of experience with the combat.
Villains through the rafters in the first world.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had much problem with combat.
I had a lot of problem with the combat in this game.
Every time I
think who gave me the most trouble was the fucking chariot boss. Like,
yes.
My god, I struggled with that asshole forever.
Well, part of the problem is the game forces you into that fight, and if you're not ready to do it, you can't leave and go level up. You can't get stronger. You're fucked. And I don't like that in a video game like this. Like, RPGs do it, fine, but it's not good when RPGs do it because part of an RPG is that you can go level up and then you're fucked. So I was not a fan of that concept. Hell, one of the freaking way you get one of the alchemies I'm watching the speedrun, which I didn't do this. It's a guy hidden behind crates. You have to walk by, then he gives you an alchemy you can buy.
Yeah, that's the Atlas spell.
Why?
Atlas spell.
Why are we doing this to us?
I don't know. Without a guide, there's some sort of.
You explore better than me, then.
Well, there's plenty that I missed and would not have ever found. Certainly.
Yeah,
I missed it. And I tried to explore. I tried to go and talk to different NPCs and see what they would say, which I don't normally do in games, by the way. But I made an effort because I wanted to get whatever this game had. I wanted to get items. I wanted to get things, and I don't know. It was a really weird experience for me.
It's a really weird game.
Yeah. And I'm very negative. I had a negative and positive experience with this game at times. There were times when I'm fun, like, okay, things are going fine, boss fights aren't too bad. The Verminator fight that we talked about earlier a little bit in the cast that I was saying you can skip, that the guy tells me this is the hardest fight in the game, and I almost wanted to quit the game and say, why might I not finish this? Which is not me, by the way. Anyone listen to the show enough, I beat pretty much every fucking game put on the show except for one. There's only been one game on the show that defeated me from it being too hard to play, and 2 I couldn't technically play because I couldn't get the emulator or anything, or run on PC.
What was the hard game? I gotta know.
Beautiful Joe.
The ending.
I didn't have emulation at the time. I couldn't beat Beautiful Joe, and Soul Reaver 2, I couldn't get it to work. Emulation, PC, nothing would work.
I found Verminator easy just because I crushed it with alchemy. I
ran out of alchemy and call bead. I used up every call bead I had saved up until that fight, and I barely beat him with alchemy because I like the alchemy on, and you can't let him have a turn because he uses drain and heals himself a whole bunch. So while you're trying to heal yourself to stay alive, he just keeps healing himself.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Little things like that are just like, you didn't need to do that. So, one of my dumb complaints. Maybe not that dumb, but that fight is but at least you can level up. You can go and run around, but at the same time, to argue with an earlier point, you still can't go buy certain items because they don't sell them. So, you know?
Kind of going back to the story, I guess. I guess the butler did do it.
The butler did do it. And I love that they actually kind of lean into that trope, like Fire Eyes, when you go back near the end of the game. She was like, yeah, but it was just the butler here, and he's just a butler. And it's like, okay, well.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, it is, to its credit, it is a very self-aware game, and like, in a very positive way.
The Robo Butler sends you down to Evermore from the, I guess, observatory the main scientist is working in. Just says, hey, don't mind me, just coming out here, taking the trash. And he'll just shoot you down to the surface where you break your bazooka.
Yeah. Oh, and you can fuck up with that bazooka too. Like, you're supposed to use the bazooka in the Verminator fight, but if you're a dumbass and just test it out while you're in town, you don't get that ammo back. And if you save afterwards,
in Gothica,
you get it for when you talk to Cecil, who says he's Cecil from Baron. Really appreciate that. He gives you the bazooka and one shot, which you're supposed to use on Verminator to help cut down some of his HP. But if you're a dumbass and test it out and then go save, it's gone until later in the game. So trust me, I mean, this is a game that does little fuck you things to you, and that's one of them. That's a big fuck you, but it made me mad, by the way, also. I also didn't even know what elements I needed for heal. So there were times in this game where I was running out of heal and getting scared. Like, who's going to sell me stuff for heal? What am I going to do? Oh, another stupid complaint. They cap the items at 6. So your healing items are only 6 per item. I don't like that either in game.
That was the same in Secret of Mana, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't like it there either, but I could heal a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because Undying didn't run on roots and water, or whatever the hell heal runs on. Undying ran on MP. I could go heal at an inn.
I like I had it in my head. I just forgot.
Come back to you. Also, this game wasn't supposed to be called Secret of Evermore. It had a different name, but the capitalized and Secret Mana doing good, they called it Secret of Evermore. Which,
it was really just Evermore.
Which bothers me, because Secret of Mana is a good game. What were you going to say,
Joe? Because the true sequel to Secret of Mana didn't come out in America.
That could be it. Yeah. That doesn't come out.
Came out in 95, same year.
Yeah, Sega Densetsu 3.
I have never played that game yet for more than an hour.
Play it now. It's called Trials of Mana.
I know.
I still prefer the original over the remake. Just, I don't know, pixel art just looks better.
Pixel art is something else. Like, the more we talk about this game, I'm thinking about how I wouldn't mind Pure Beads of Secret of Mana stuff. Not this game, but Secret of Mana. I don't know. This game has an uglier color palette, too.
Yeah, I kind of want one of the doggos as a perler.
Okay. The dogs are cool.
The music is incredible, though.
Yeah.
Music was good. I mean, I can't say much for music, but the music was fine.
Yeah, I think my favorite is the town music of, what do you call it, Colossia or whatever, when you're going through, or was it Gothica, is the kind of harp melancholy one.
Oh.
It sounds like Nobilia, I believe, like the trading post, or like the chessboard area.
The chessboard was cool.
The chessboard music is good. Yeah, so this was the composer is a man named Jeremy Soule, who is sort of known for the Elder Scrolls games, and this was his very first soundtrack, The Secret of Evermore.
He did a good job.
Yeah, he's done a bunch of stuff.
I recognize the name.
Very famous, including Skyrim is obviously, I think, his most notable work. But
he did stuff on Harry Potter too.
Oh, I'm not sure.
The name sounds familiar. I don't know. And for some reason, it feels like it clicked.
It would also be remiss to not point out he's been accused by multiple women of sexual assault, so I don't want to praise him too much. But
yeah.
Man, why do all so many people got to be shitty? Like, how hard is it not to be a shitty person? I mean,
don't meet your heroes, folks.
I met a few. I met Adrian Paul. He was really nice. So far as I know, he hasn't done anything shitty yet. So hey,
yeah, it's doing a lot of work in that sense.
Oh god, yeah. Ever since those allegations, the only thing he's done is Roblox music.
Yeah, like I never met Neil Gaiman. I never will now. So that one, I was like, man, you had to be a piece of shit too. Like, come on. It's neither here nor there though. So no, as I was kind of saying before, like the colors in this game feel kind of muted for some reason.
No, I'm in this. I'm in the jungle portion of the prehistoric, and it looks pretty vibrant to me.
In that part, yeah.
I think it's because you like comparing it to Secret of Mana. That is such a fantasy world where it doesn't have anything realistic. So it's very bright, colorful. They can do interesting designs. Here, it tries to be a little more real. I don't want to say realistic, because it's not the real world, but it tries to be a little more grounded with some of their designs, minus the last world. Because it's clearly, you can clearly see it's like what their inspirations were, and I think it's just not as memorable in some aspects from a graphical standpoint.
I think those are both valid points. Yeah,
I will almost always remember the quote unquote freak show in Gothica.
Okay, that's a bit amusing. Yeah, when they take your dog from you.
I will say I really like. I know the bosses we from a gameplay perspective weren't great, but I think from an art perspective they are very memorable, especially like that bug.
Yes,
boss, the first one you made, that really stands out.
Yeah.
No, I do like that.
Yeah, agree.
And the final boss, the backup butler.
Yeah.
He's cool. His issue is they make you fight too much stuff in that room leading up to him.
You know, I do appreciate like the fact that your dog does have the different forms and like unique animations for everything. Like they clearly did. There's a lot of love that went into the game, but just those designers. I just really hope they learn some lessons.
The armor for dogs is collars, and you heal them with doggy treats.
You heal
them with regular petals and whatever, but to revive them, you use a dog treat.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, that's fair.
Which I just remembered in the Fire Eyes Village, there's a secret path to the left that'll get you just 6 biscuits and a bunch of other alchemy ingredients.
No, there's a lot of hidden areas like that.
So many.
A little too many,
in my opinion. No hint or visible way to tell where they are either.
Absolutely not.
That's right. One of my problems.
Go ahead. Yeah, right outside the trading post, when you first get there, you can get sucked down a random whirlpool and get 99 spice and rice, like a huge starting point that lets you basically get everything in the trading post if you want.
Oh.
Nothing. Yeah. No way to know that, of course. But yeah.
That would have been nice to know, yeah.
Also a alchemy hidden in this vast desert, and again, no hints towards that fact.
What are hints? This game doesn't know what that means.
It's insane.
That's one of my complaints. There's not enough information given to the player.
Yeah, and often just knowing where to go in a lot of
I heard building the don't remember heard that building the glider like 3/4 of the way is a tough long quest. Or the plane that you can use to go anywhere.
Oh, yeah, it goes quick with a guide, but without one, that would have been a miserable slog throughout the entire world again, just to find everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's not very long, like when you go to Prehistoria, what they want you to do, but if you didn't know, it would be hard. Like the volcano thing, I found it completely by accident. I knew it was on the volcano, but I just kind of fell into it. But I didn't know it'd be hard.
I just spent the last 15 to 20 minutes in the village figuring out where I need to go, and I just found the direction to get to the desert just now because I have to go to a place on the lower right to get out of the village to here. So
Like that, for example, should not be as difficult as the game made it. Running around, like when I first was playing this game, I was playing it in kind of a lighted area and I could barely see the town because in the town there's like some ground that separates, you can't walk up it and you have to walk around it, and I couldn't see what I was doing. I was like, this is stupid. So, a little complaint that does not go away in this game.
No, this game is the definition of 1,000 cuts, death by 1,000 cuts.
It really is. I mean, Phoebe, who loves this game, who I said earlier is unfortunate. You'll hear later. She was like, "You're hurting me, Mike." And I kept cutting down this game. She's like, "I love this game," and I'm like, "Don't replay it." Then.
Yeah, she's posting a lot of sad faces in the chat.
I just kept bitching. I mean, I was bitching more to her personally. We were talking. I'm like, "Oh, this game," and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of that because like what you said, Joe. Like, I play a lot of retro games. I can get behind it. I love Square. Like, one of my goals for this podcast is to play every Squaresoft game. I'm not doing much progress on it, but it is a goal of mine somewhere deep inside. And I did not too many things that were against me. And I just can't imagine playing this game without save states, because I wouldn't have finished it without save state.
Or without a guide. Like we said, I have no idea how you would play this without a guide.
Hey, maybe that was a strategy. I know got a cut, so hey. That I lost my guide, because I really wanted to pull it out for this game, but I don't have it anymore. I've looked for some of my guides. I think I moved a couple times, and I moved in some bad situations, and I think it didn't come with me. So it makes me sad, because I actually have a Final Fantasy 3 guide that my wife bought me because I had online and interviewed him for this podcast, and so she bought me a copy of the guide that I have sitting behind me. But unfortunately, I lost this guide. And I did not tell her that I wanted to order a copy because I did not. Because they are not cheap, I bet.
You could probably find a PDF on Internet Archive or whatnot.
Yeah,
but
that's the first one that pops up.
Okay. I mean, I used a GameFAQs guide or something like that for this.
Yeah, GameFAQs.
I should have looked up a PDF of this guide.
I'm looking at the strategy guide right now. This is a nice strategy guide.
Kid Mike really liked that strategy guide, by the way. Like, I wasn't joking.
Crazy.
I'm pretty sure I said this already in an episode, but I'll say it again here. Like, my experience of this game was reading that guide. And like, it was so weird. Like, oh, I know this boss. Never played the game. Oh, I know what this is. Like, it was the weirdest experience. I have never had that experience before on the show. And it was very, very strange.
Oh, God, this thing's got maps and everything. Oh, God, it has maps for all the dungeons. Oh, God, yeah, I should have used this too. I didn't even think about this.
I wish you would have said something earlier, because I would have probably had a better time. But I didn't think about it either. But like another little thing about this game, like with the map, you have a map, the mazes wouldn't probably be so bad. And I remember as a kid, I would trace maps with my finger for games like I had a real weird thing where I liked it in game magazines, like I think maybe Game Informer or some of the other magazines I bought. Like, they would show like Castlevania, they would show like the whole map, and I would just like play through it in my head. I was an odd kid. So those things I like doing. And in Secret of Evermore, I know I would have traced where to go in the mazes. Got little mazes as a kid. I found out adult Mike does not like mazes, especially when they're full of enemies. Do not like that. And respawning enemies. And was it just me, or do the enemies feel like they do a lot of damage in this game majority of the time?
Oh, no, they do.
Okay, well,
you can
be good.
buy armor, but I never saw any benefits of buying the armor.
I mean, I bought every armor the game sold me. I had the best stuff in the game by the end of the game per the guide, but I still could only take a couple hits. I was in my 30s, I think, when I beat this game. So maybe I was under leveled. I don't know.
I thought the cap is 40, isn't it? In this game.
Oh, is it that low?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
And I don't want to Google and find out. That's fine. I was just curious. But if it's 40, then that's a low cap, because I wasn't under leveled then, because I was near that.
Okay, no, it does go up to level 99, but they say to beat the game, they recommend level 40.
Okay, so I was under leveled then to beat the game. Okay, That's fine. And I did kill most enemies. I did farm in this game multiple times where I just killed enemies for like an hour or two, multiple places. Like, I did stuff like that, and I still just didn't feel right.
Yeah, you got to level your weapons. And
I did that too. Spells I didn't do because it cost items. I have a problem with that in video games, especially when I can't buy said items at the shop in town. I have an issue with it. This game took a lot of my issues and packaged them all together for me. Like, yeah. I had a lot of complaints. Well, I do think it's kind of cool, like in the story, how each world you go to, you meet a person, and then who's from the real world, Podunk, dumbass name, and then they all have a doppelganger that is trying to fuck things up in their particular little town. That's a cool concept.
Yeah, like the first person you meet in Sandalot, or whatever you call it, Noblica or whatever, he's the bad guy. Or not, I forget.
The horse isn't... It's his doppelganger that is in the castle talking to a face that you only see the back of his head. And then you see later in the green outfit instead of the tan outfit. That's the villain.
I just wanted to remember if you started out talking to the doppelganger or not. I don't know if I remembered that or not happening.
I'm not sure.
Maybe the queen or the woman, the other woman of Gothica?
Like the queen or the doppelganger?
I think you meet the doppelganger first.
You do, yes. And she tells you to kill the other people, essentially, and then you find out that the other people are the real... Yeah. Gothica's fine. I didn't like the pink poodle, though, for some reason. I don't know why. I didn't like that was a poodle. I'm bothered. I was like, I'd rather have the Anubis dog back. Or the fucking toaster dog you get in the end of this game is. So, Phoebe, one thing she helped me out with this game, because I was bitching a lot to her, and she told me when I got to the future, she's like, the toaster dog is incredible. And at the point in that game, all it became was, keep the enemy busy so the toaster dog can hit him. And that's all the game was in the end. And I'm like, this is stupid, but I will finish this damn game.
Yeah, but not incorrect at all.
No. I do think it's funny they call it a space station, but because of budgeting or something, it's just you're on the moon, a moon base essentially, because they didn't want to go. It was too much work to create the space station, I guess, so they just did a moon. I don't know, but that's what I heard. They do say space station this multiple times.
Yeah.
And that red ship is cool. I am a fan of that little red ship you get. I think if the game opened up the open world aspect of it sooner, or not open world, but where you can at least fly back to different towns to buy ingredients, I would be more okay with this game because then you could level up spells just by flying back somewhere, finding the merchant. But the fact that you don't get it till the end of the third world, I think is too late.
Yeah. It badly needs a hub that you could essentially travel to the three regions instead of a very late sort of airship, which just changed the trajectory of this game.
100%. Because if you could have bought spells, like you could go back and find the alchemy you missed earlier in the game, you could go buy ingredients for your spells. I completely get behind this game more because at least then you give me the opportunity to fix my mistakes and to prepare for what the game had. Where I wasn't able to do that, and this game could trap you. Because I want to say for a good period of time, I was running out of heal spells, and the merchant did not sell what I needed at all. And that was getting me nervous. A little thing you could fix.
Did you use like the defend spell at all, Mike, or the shield?
Not enough.
What it's called. Okay.
I used barrier when I got near the end of the game, yes, but
yeah,
defend does help. I use it pretty regularly.
Yeah,
I should have. I didn't level my weapons up enough. I will say that, or not my weapon, but my spells enough because they cost items. I didn't use a spell. Again, that is a me problem, and I must state that because I understand.
Yeah, I think you've stated it maybe 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah, but I try to be very upfront about that when I do these reviews because I don't want someone to listen to this and go, oh, that, I want you to know when it's something where I feel like it's not the game being bad, but it's something that upset me. That's why I say it that way.
That's fair.
I try to be very transparent in these reviews because there might be some people that really listen to my opinion. I don't know, but I'm sure there are some. If you do, let me know in the podcast comments or the Discord, please. But that's why I say it because there are some things that are like, the game is fine, like the game is great, yet I was upset the whole time, so that's why.
Crush is more or less sufficient. Like if you're kind of in the know, like you realize it's relatively easy to keep the ingredients max, and it's just so powerful.
That was one of my other issues. I didn't max my ingredients early on as I should have. Later on, once I got to the second world, then I started making sure I was maxed out at all times, so I started using alchemy more. But like the first boss, I didn't even know how to heal in the first boss fight with that big bug. I beat it purely out of save state.
You didn't know how to use the items?
No, did not use items.
It's the ring system from Secret of Mana.
I know that now, but I did not know that in that first boss fight. So if Richard listens to it, I know what he's going to send me. But but it was just the game. I don't know. Like maybe I wanted the game to tell me. I just didn't even understand what the items are. Like with Secret of Mana, where they don't explain it. The reason I knew what a chocolate bar did or I knew what this does because other people had showed me. But in this game, nobody showed me, so I didn't know. Again, not the game's fault, but that was a thing that I ran into, and I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, again, me problem. And throughout this game, you do have parts where weapons will break down barriers or have some effect which I do like.
Yeah, swords will almost always cut down.
Everything will.
Plants. Yeah, but your first weapon is a bone. I just remembered.
Yes, it is. Which it's fine. All the weapons were fine. It'd just be nicer if they leveled up as each category and not each weapon from the category. But Mainly because you couldn't charge it, and charging is such an effective way to kill things in this game.
Almost required to kill most things.
There are some enemies that I would hit, and it would do 0 damage to them unless I was charged.
Especially bosses is an issue there.
Yes, bosses. So that was some of my problems. Yeah, I think I'm running on
and this is a lot of stuff. This is a lot of stuff that a lot of people wouldn't know. Like with a guide, a lot of this stuff is so much easier. The game does give you the tools. It just, as is so often the case, it doesn't give you any sort of trail to follow to actually get there.
I mean, that was just how games were back in the day. You just had to kind of wander around aimlessly until you found something.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to be a little, because it is, 2025, and this was made in 1995, 30 years ago.
I would say with Square Enix now doing all these, 2.5 HD remakes, this one wouldn't be a bad one to do, especially if they added like some quality of life stuff, because like we said, like the designs and stuff are really good, and they could advance those, make them pop even more, and just adjust some of the gameplay mechanics. I think this could be a good re-release.
Give you a teleport spell to go back to the previous town. Just that simple aspect right there would fix this game, and give you a tool to let you know who sold what. Like have something in your menu, you can look it up.
Yeah, and as far as
I think this game would be fine. Maybe turn down
the game's ever been re-released, has it? It's stuck on the SNES, isn't it?
Yep,
well, it's been it was on the SNES Mini. No, it wasn't.
No, that was Secret of Mana.
Yeah, no, this game wasn't even re-released in the WiiWare or anything. This game is stuck on Super Nintendo.
Oh man, they didn't even release it. I'm looking right now. They didn't even release it in Japan. So yeah, this game didn't get. Yeah, that's not a good sign.
Well, it's an American game. I mean, this whole game is an American game.
Yeah,
it didn't even come out. Yeah, it didn't even come out in Japan at all.
No, it did. They were going to, but then the sales were so bad of it in America, they're just like cancel it. But to be fair, this did come out at like the end of the SNES's lifespan.
Yeah, because 95, like as we talked about in the Year in Gaming episode, go check that out. I mean, PS1 is already out of this time, so
yeah.
I mean, I know I didn't jump to PS1 right away because I was a child, didn't have money, but
yeah, no, but yeah. They never did re-release. That is so weird.
It's weird to me in this day and age where most things are re-released. Like you think this would be put up somewhere for people.
Yeah.
I mean, I know porting is not just hit a switch. I understand that concept, but I think it's the fact that I can emulate it on my Steam Deck or on my phone, like a few generations ago, I could have. You think they could put it on a modern system somehow?
The fact that Live Alive got a full remake before this got re-released is kind of amazing.
Yeah, Live Alive.
That game is great.
Oh, it is a great game.
Yeah, that is kind of strange.
Yeah.
Life is strange.
Good game. Also on this podcast. Also been downloaded over 1,000 times. I found out recently for that episode. So go check it out if you haven't. Hey, I will plug everything I can plug. What I do.
Porting in on my playthrough right now. I'm at the screen before the bug monster and with the collapsing bridges.
Yep. But at least you can't soft lock in those collapsing bridges. There was a point where the guide said, don't save at this character because you might soft lock the game. Which I read after I saved, but thank God I didn't soft lock it. Or you really would hear me bitching about this game.
Yeah,
that shouldn't be a thing in a game. Like, it shouldn't be where you save at a save point where you can soft lock your game. That should not be a thing in any game. I am not okay with that.
Square had some issues with that back in the day. If you remember, it wasn't called Mana on the Game Boy, but the Final Fantasy Adventures, I think, was on the Game Boy. There was a dungeon. There was a dungeon you could totally lock yourself out of, and it was like in the middle of the game, and you would have to reset the whole thing.
Dude,
that's ridiculous.
It wasn't the desert dungeon, was it?
I think it was. You had to. I'm trying to remember. There was something where you had to light. I think you had to like. No, there was keys. You had to open the doors in a specific order, and if you went out of order, you could lock yourself out.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That was where, in that game, that's what I learned what a mattock is. It's a pickaxe.
Oh, yeah. You do get that pickaxe. That was also, that's a weird game you should look at, Mike. That has some, you want to talk about a game you wouldn't be able to figure out without a guide, there's one for you.
Final Fantasy Legend?
No, Adventure.
Adventure, I believe it is.
Okay, yeah, the Legend is the Saga games. You're right, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I believe there is PSP remake or something, or Vita remake of it.
Well, there's a GBA and a PSP.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's sort of Mana.
Yeah, sort of Mana. It's still a remake of it though. It changed the plot, though. But yeah.
It's like a different game, but yeah, it's a reference.
Yeah.
I do want to play Sword of Mana someday, because I'm trying to play a lot of old GBA games for this podcast, too, because I missed so many.
That was my bread and butter back in the day.
Man, there's some great GBA games out there. I get it.
Absolutely are.
Anything else we should say about this game? I think we're about wrapping it up.
Yeah, and I'm almost at the bug boss, the Thorax.
You can turn off the game right there and keep those happy memories.
I mean, I'll probably go further because I'm really enjoying it.
Like I said, they're going to go away soon. All right, should we go to questions, comments, memories?
I'm good.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. I did get some. I was happy to say people actually had stuff to say about this game, so that made me happy. They didn't get to hear my opinion yet. All right, so first from the I Watched the Entire Opalid Super Replay group from Antone Trailer. One of my favorite SNES games and easily my favorite 16-bit soundtrack. Game needs a remake. Have you never played Chrono Trigger? Each their own. From Brian Shuta. Secret of Evermore is one of my favorite games with Super Nintendo. I love how much of a movie nerd the main character was, especially in regards to the made-up B-rated sci-fi movies he references. I also love traveling through time periods in the game and seeing your pet dog change appearances when you enter each time period. The magic system was creative in the sense that you need to collect recipe items to cast spells. There's also a ton of secrets in this game. I recently watched a 100% playthrough of the game, and the player learned spells I didn't even know were in the game. I believe that 100%.
Yeah.
No question there. And from Steve Lusiter, Secret of Evermore is a solid and captivating game. If you take it for what it is, many people want to compare it to Secret of Mana, and for obvious reasons, but it's not. It's its own entity. When you stop the comparison, you get a challenging and quirky game with a weird cast of characters and some neat twists and turns. It does copy Secret of Mana's menus, and Mana was so great, but that's about where the comparison ends. And one of the other comments here from Aaron Martinez is built on the same engine as Mana, but definitely way, way different. When I was little, I thought it was a sequel and was very confused almost immediately, but now I respect it. There's a complete copy at one of my local retro game shops I've been eyeballing. And I'm sure they want over $100 for it.
I was going to say, this game's only going about 60 on eBay, so it's still affordable.
That's cheap for a complete in-box of Nintendo, isn't it? For an RPG?
Yeah, late RPG. Yeah, because you compare it to like Chrono Trigger, that's like costing you an arm and a leg.
Or depending on what country, a kidney. All right. I'm surprised it's that cheap, but then again, that kind of goes along with the fact that, this game has issues. All right, and then from the official Laser Time community, from Gabe Kleinart, this is going to be a hot take, but I prefer Evermore to Mana. Don't get me wrong, Secret of Mana has more content and deeper mechanics, but I like the setting and story of Evermore way better. I mean, this game looks like Secret of Mana. That's my issue. And you call it Secret of Evermore. Like, when you use the first part of a word and the same company makes a game, like Chrono Cross, for example, people are going to think it's a sequel. Chrono Cross is a sequel and a good game. But, you can't do that and be confused. Like, I don't understand why people thought that. You don't say. All right, from the RPG Lovers group, from Ryan Smith, I honestly did not buy this game when it first came out, as I thought it was a Secret of Mana clone or had a weird plot. About 2 or 3 later, I found it in a bargain bin and purchased it. Although I felt the game was indeed similar to Secret of Mana as an action RPG, it has its own style. I honestly liked it. Oh, and I did eventually beat it. On the one side, I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't buy the game earlier, but at the same time, I'm not, because it's good to get a gem of a game for a great price.
I would say, it is a Secret of Mana clone with a weird plot, but that doesn't necessarily make it bad thing.
It is.
Yes, they use
company, so.
But there's a lot of games that use the same engine and look at least a little different and play a little different. This game doesn't play much different. From Marcus Logan.
It had a dog.
It had a dog, yes. But even the bars at the bottom look the same, but different colors. At least change your HUD a little bit. From Marcus Logan, still got mine. My buddy and I always named the characters after ourselves and our dogs. Such a great game. Almost identical play to Secret of Mana. I hated fighting with the bone at the beginning. That is a fair complaint. All right, and I got a lot of comments. I won't really read all these from the RPG Sanctuary group, but I'll try to read what I can. From Emma Browning Genner. I actually sucked at this game as a kid. I picked it up because I loved Secret of Mana and thought this must be more of the same sort of thing. I may have sucked, but I would restart and replay the same bits over and over again. Farthest I ever got was Salabog boss fight, which is the second boss, because I enjoyed it so much. It's a shame I never got to see the rest of the game, but I still have my copy, so maybe it's time to dig it out and try it again as an adult. You should, but I don't think your opinion will be bad. I don't think you're going to love it.
Play it on emulation and not the original copy.
You'd be surprised how many people are very standoffish about emulation in today's world.
I know.
Okay. And I never understood it. I will never understand why people get so against it. it's to me, it's pirating if you're playing something that's current or something that you could easily purchase. But when you're playing something like this that hasn't been released in 30 years,
it's the abandonware issue.
Now, if you're playing Tears of the Kingdom before it comes out, pirating, sir. You're pirating. That's how I always see it. Like,
yeah.
And people need to get over that. Like, people are like, oh, man, I want to play Mother 3, but I want to play it when Nintendo releases it. We're not in that timeline, sir. That timeline doesn't exist here. Emulate it if you actually want to play it. All right, from Tyrone White. Love this game. Every time I replay it, I feel like I find a new alchemy smell I didn't know existed. Very fair comment. From Peter Gamblin. It's an amazing game and one I wish I could go back and play again. Is it re-released on any current consoles and I missed the announcements, or are we digging out old consoles? Yeah. Gotta dig out your old console emulation. Never been re-released, and I don't see it ever happening at this point. But then again, I have said that on this podcast, and then I've been told wrong. So, Square, if you want to prove me wrong, I'm okay with it this time. It's all right. Prove me wrong, please.
And the bug goes down.
Oh, I don't mind. Like, hey, I said live and live, so that never get re-released. They re-released it. Hey, I'm happy to be wrong in those cases. From Nathan Gray, I remember playing this game over and over back in the 90s and never meeting another person who had ever even heard of it. I was convinced for years I was the only one who had ever played it. That's fair. I mean, late NES, you know? I think that's completely fair. Oh, here, we'll mention the game. How many people in this group have played or have heard of Skulljagger for Super Nintendo?
No.
See? Point made. All right. From Patrick Calarosi, one of the best SNES games, one of the best SNES soundtrack. All right. From Brandon Wood, great game, one of my favorites. So many cameos from Final Fantasy. There's only 2 that I know of. 4 and 6.
Well, there's a
Chocobo egg.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get it, but yeah, you're right.
Not really that cameo, but
reference. Could be close enough. But right from Mike Reef. The Greek market is one of my highlights of my childhood. Just an astonishing thing to see in a game. So beautifully rendered and so fun to explore. The whole game is a rare gem.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
From Britton Dix. I remember a dog and a part where you had to barter by going from merchant to merchant trading items. I remember the graphics being amazing for the time.
They are.
And from Terry Sprague. Unfortunately, I think it's highly underrated, but personally, I adore it. From Russell Holy. Absolutely love this game. My very first RPG. Shame I didn't get to finish it. All right. Here's a good one. From Rich Piocchi. This game was terrible. The plot was mediocre. The character development didn't exist. The hit detection was criminal, which also affected the awful alchemy item detection. This is a desperation game at best. Swim in a sea of groundbreaking games of its time.
Is that your alt account?
Yeah. But hey, he ain't wrong. This game did have bad...
Yeah, are we sure that ain't your alt account?
My alt accounts when I used to make them were like Fei Wong, Saiton Uzumaki. Those are alt names I used to use. Yeah, some people know what I'm referencing. So, but that's what I do when I would make alt accounts for stuff like Mafia Wars back in the day on Facebook, and I played those games. I would make accounts for Xenogears characters. So that's just what I did. But no, I mean, he's not wrong. I didn't even think about it. He reminded me of something I forgot to bring up. There were so many times the dog was sniffing, and I would hit the button, and I could not pick up anything. I'm glad it wasn't just me. You guys have that same problem?
Not really.
Yeah.
Oh,
sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes, to be honest. But yeah, but 9 times out of 10, I'll find something. Or like 8 times out of 10, I'll find something.
It was more like 3 out of 10. I got to the point where I stopped even trying. That's the reason why I didn't have resources. I couldn't get the dog to find anything. So, and from Tim Cook, Toaster Dog is man's best friend. And from Kevin Lee, this game desperately needs a re-release / modern console port. Secret of Mana is replayable everywhere, but Secret of Evermore, in my opinion, the better of 2 similar style games, just doesn't exist on anything. A prime example of why game emulation will never die. If Nintendo heard you, they'd be getting upset right now. And from Celine Og, I remember getting stuck with the different dogs and I just gave up. But it was way ahead of its time. Definitely a classic. All right, here's a good one. From Mark Manyfield, for the longest time, I considered this the worst game I ever played. The hype, how easy it was, and how bored I was playing it made me hate this game. A couple of my vivid memories, I created a potion that made me invincible to the final boss, so I beat him easily. I remember going to Babbage's or Funkoland after I beat it and seeing a strategy guide for it that it wasn't even mentioned as an option to beat the last boss. The other was getting the strongest weapon in the last area, but weapons had to be built up to reach their full strength through grinding. It wasn't worth it, seeing as you were in the final area of the game, and the second strongest weapon had already been built up through grinding by then. It was pointless. Bad design. I still can't stand that game. Yeah, another alt account apparently, me, huh?
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for the twist that, I actually love it now.
Me too. Yeah. They didn't have one. And from Matthew L., I loved Secret of Evermore, and rarely a soundtrack will make like you are deep in a game. It really sets the atmosphere. All right. From Brandon Carter, same guy who did Skyrim soundtrack made this one. And honestly, if you ask me, one of my favorite games of all time. Sad it didn't get any sequels or anything. One of the most atmospheric games ever created, in my opinion. Did you fight and beat the secret boss in the final area? I have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, there's like a.
Oh, wait, no, I do.
Computer face, I think.
Yes, yeah, it's computer face.
Yeah.
The guy told me I had to put in some code that a cleaner bot told me, but I didn't take a picture of it, and I didn't care enough to walk back to get it.
It's pretty easy to brute force, and I randomly got it on my first try. Not much to it.
Okay, I just didn't bother. When I got to the last world, I finished it in a day. I was like, I am beating this game today. And that was the mindset, and that's all it went.
You don't get, it's not worth the hassle. It's
okay.
Not like a super boss or super reward or anything, unfortunately.
Super boss, I definitely wouldn't have messed with it then.
Yeah, no.
Done. I can't emphasize that enough. All right, and this is going to be the last comment I'm going to read. From Nathan Cunningham. I did a completionist run where I tried to max out my skill in every alchemy spell. It turns out some of them are impossible because the game gives you finite ingredients on some that are insufficient to max out. Most runs I ended up relying on Crush, though, because the materials were literally dirt cheap and plentiful, and virtually nothing could deal with a giant stone fist of God slamming into them over and over again. Love the cameos from Final Fantasy games. Wish they would have made the T sequel.
You can't even max them. Oh, God. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's what the Game Genie's for, Shark.
Oh, it's Game Genie at this point. Shark didn't come out till later. I had a Game Genie at this time, and I used it all the time.
Yeah. That came with a book, didn't it? Of the different codes and stuff you put in.
Yeah, you have to get them in the mail, too. Remember those days?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Good old days.
I remember going to websites for some codes.
When I had Game Genie, I don't think internet was around yet.
Yeah, I mean, it was
my first
used, probably.
My
that.
first
It might have
memory
been when the Game Shark was out.
Yeah, it was.
Big,
yeah.
But there also be fake codes on Game Shark websites all the time. Like, I'll never forget my first experience was going to the library for Pokemon codes, and I'm still looking for Pika Flare. It's got to be in there somewhere, right?
You gotta check the truck, Mike.
I tried to move that truck.
I can move this truck. You can't move that truck. I can move this truck. You can't move this truck.
I love how that joke for this day, this lives and has been for so many people. I appreciate that. Unlocked a core memory. Well, it's been there forever, but yes. All right. Before we go to Shelf Stack, let's give away a code. Let me see what my next game is to give away for somebody. And you're going to get the code for Doom. This is the 2016 version, I'm pretty sure. Not the original remake.
Somebody better rip and tear real good.
The code is 4BREPVKRTZAVIVI. That is your code for Doom. There you go, buddy. Whoever got that code, you're welcome. And I have another good code next week too. So listen to next week's episode right when it goes up. And as I promised earlier in the episode, I have another person joining me who couldn't be here for the main recording.
Hello, how is everyone?
And what is your name, stranger?
I am Phoebe Stanton, but you can call me Fire Eyes. Fire Eyes.
You liked Fire Eyes as a kid, didn't you?
I loved Fire Eyes as a kid. It was great.
I could just tell by that tone. I'm like, yep.
I mean, I love this game. Okay, I'm probably going to be the odd one out, but I do. And I feel like this is a game where you either love it or you hate it.
No, you're not the odd one out, as you'll hear when you listen to the episode. But also, you did not, to be transparent, you did not unfortunately get a chance to play this game for this recording.
No, but I did play it a couple of years ago, which you can find over on YouTube underneath the Let's Play Princess channel. I did a weapons-only run, no call beads and no spells.
So you just beat yourself with a whip the entire time?
I mean, I beat myself with a club, a sword, and a spear, but yes.
We'll go with the whip. Sounds sexier.
No, this isn't Mana.
No, Mana's a good game.
We'll beg to differ.
So what is your history with Secret Evermore?
This is one of the Super Nintendo games I actually grew up with. In fact, this was my first Squaresoft game. We only had 2 RPGs, and nobody in their right mind would be able to guess what the second RPG I grew up with on the Super Nintendo was.
Secret of Stars.
No, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, Eye of the Beholder.
You are correct. Nobody would have guessed that. I went with a random ass pick too.
Yeah, see? And that's what I mean is I didn't get to play Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VI or any of those. It was this. But this therefore cemented my love for Squaresoft for later down the line with Final Fantasy VII and Chrono Trigger and all of them. I mean, I am a Square Enix girl because of this game.
Okay, that's a big thing then right there. Not what I would expect that this would be, but it makes sense why you love this game then too.
I mean, I love it just because I grew up with a lot of weird movies and different pieces of media. You know, if we're going to talk about movie tie-in games, most people would have probably played something like, I don't know, The Mask back then, or I don't know, because I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but like our tie-in game on the Super Nintendo was The Hunt for Red October. I at least had, you know, Super Mario All-Stars and Link to the Past and stuff like that. But for each one of those, I had, you know, Pitfall the Mayan Adventure. So we had a whole different smorgasbord of games to play on the Super Nintendo, which got me to try a lot of different genres and stuff. So this, again, was my first real RPG. And the game is hard, right? Like, I didn't I didn't beat Thrax until playing it around high school on an emulator. I can admit that. But I would constantly restart the game, get to Thrax, try to beat him, and still had a blast with it, even though I could never get past him. Because he is the cover art of the game, and he's such a cool design. And the plot of this game is just so...
He shouldn't be.
Yeah, right?
Bonkers?
And the plot of this game is so different. It's not your normal fantasy RPG. It's a sci-fi one where this scientist disappeared 30 or so years ago, and a few people disappeared with him when he was doing this experiment to create a sort of world based off of your imagination. And now everybody's trapped in this sort of pocket reality where each continent is based off of their personal imagination and the things they enjoy. Elizabeth is, you know, a huge fan of prehistoric times and dinosaurs. You have what's his name? Horace, who's a big fan of like the Greek and Egyptian times of Julius Caesar and Cleopatra. I can't remember the other lady's name.
I can't remember the queen's name.
But she's a big fan of like the Victorian London and Dark Ages times. And then you finally have Carltron, the robot butler who looks down on everybody from his flying continent of Omnitopia. And the game is very much a love letter to B movies and B movie style storytelling. I mean, think about who the two characters are that you can name. It's a boy and his dog.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Harlan Ellison, we see ya.
I mean, I did like the dog a lot.
The dog is great, especially, like, first of all, he gets overpowered so fast because the kid has a sword, an axe or club, and a spear for each continent, but the dog really only has one attack. It is attack. And so he will reach his highest level very early in the game. And then you're just charging him up and getting stronger and stronger collars until the very end of the game where he transforms into a toaster. And I love the toaster dog.
A wonderful toaster dog that murders everybody.
Yes, because he has a machine gun laser. I love it. And I love the fact that Games Done Quick actually made a one-of-a-kind plushie for this. I wish I had put in a bid when there was time, but I think I was at work back then. Which sucks, because I want that bloody toaster dog.
Tell me what things have never left your brain.
Yeah, this game will never leave my brain. I love that it at least tries different things that games really haven't done besides this one. Like the spell system isn't spells because it's not fantasy. It's alchemy and you're mixing together different ingredients. I think that's a really cool idea. I think other games may have tried it down the line and have failed miserably. Look at Final Fantasy 15, for example. Magic in that game just kind of sucks, but it's
You're always going to bitch about that.
I will never stop bitching about 15. 15's a fucking mess. But then you also have the different continents have their own currencies. And there's a trading system where it gets halved or doubled depending on where you're going. the fact that there are special things that you can earn if you beat scripted fight that you are potentially supposed to lose. Like the fact that you can get the bazooka later in the game in the last area, and it is an extremely powerful weapon, but only if you beat the tutorial with the two red robots when you're in the manor.
Oh.
If you don't beat that, the bazooka is damaged on the fall to Prehistoria, and you can't get it at the end of the game.
That is that I didn't know. Huh. That's interesting. I mean, no, I've talked about it for an hour before this, but like the game is interesting. I have my all my words have already been heard, so I just want to hear your. Did you have a favorite continent?
Probably. I don't want to say Prehistoria, but because I've spent the most time in it. But I really don't want to say Prehistoria, but at the same time, you're stuck there as a kid for so long. But yes. I do think besides like the dog maze, Gothica, whatever it's called, is probably the most straightforward and less maze-like. Because Omnitopia is a very big maze.
Spoiler alert, the whole game is a big maze.
Yeah, that's true. And that's kind of speaking of Squaresoft at this time. Like, Chrono Trigger isn't a maze for the most part, except for the one Flying Fortress, and I want to say the one dungeon in the future when you go to beat Mother Machine or whatever it's called.
12,000 BC is the Blackbird.
Thank you. The Blackbird. I keep forgetting the name of it.
I know that game a little too well.
But like Final Fantasy V, those dungeons are a mess. And if you look at Final Fantasy V and you look at this game, Squaresoft really loved conveyor belts at this time. No idea why. They just really loved conveyor belts.
That's FF6, Matchtech Factory. It came out the year before this. I brought up your point that you had when you weren't here and went all about it. You can hear later.
I cannot wait.
And did you have a favorite dog form? I already know what it is, but I want to.
Well, besides Toaster, I don't think I have a favorite dog form, not counting the Toaster, of course. I think my least favorite dog form, though, is the Jackal or Anubis, whatever you want to call him. Because he's of course, if you're going to be in this ancient Greek area, it's going to be a Jackal / Anubis.
I like it.
like he's nice and sleek and to the point, but I think he's so skinny that there's less of a design to him. They could have done something more because he's just kind of like a skeleton creature at that point. Like, when it comes to the wolf form, you can actually see the different bits of fur because, it's shaded in that way. If you're looking at the poodle form in Gothica, you actually get, the different shadows on the pom-poms and stuff. But with Anubis, it just kind of exists.
Well, that's a fair complaint. And do you have a favorite boss or one that really stuck out to you in general? I'm going to say as a kid, but you didn't get far enough to.
Yeah, right. The final boss of Gothica, or one of the bosses of Gothica, where you're fighting the puppets.
Oh, yeah.
And then the fact that Gothica's final boss is hinted at the entire time, because in like little cutscenes and camera pans, you'll see an eye or a nose just hidden in the background or in a sewer grate, etc., etc. I really love that bit of foreshadowing that they do they give you a name at some point during, I want to say, the circus or whatever that's there, but they never actually tell you what it's supposed to look like. And then there's just, what was that? Oh no, what was that? And you never get to really know until you finally have to fight it.
No, that's completely fair. It is very cool the way they foreshadow that one.
Yeah, it's really nice of a game from like the SNES or even that era to do a show, don't tell.
No, this game had a lot of really cool moments that I did like. Did you have a favorite dungeon or one that has always stood out to you?
Oh God, if you're not counting Omnitopia, the entirety of it, the pyramid. The pyramid could be a mess, but I do like the fact that it feels like a real pyramid where, yes, you would have these hallways and stuff because those would be the burial chambers and everything. And I do like that there are more puzzles in there because the game's not really puzzle oriented, but the whole hitting the switches with the spear and actually having to level the spear up in order to do it. That would be around the first time, if memory serves, that the game asks you to do something like that. So it does force you to start using weapons for more practical uses than just combat.
Yeah, and to be fair, when it comes to the way they do it with the spear in the pyramid, they automatically do it for you.
Yeah, and then later on, or like right before then, I want to say is when they start asking you to use the axe to break down walls as well. Maybe you do that a bit in Prehistoria beforehand, but it's
No,
prominent at that point.
You don't. You do it after that.
Okay.
Prehistoria, I mean, use the axe just to cut down a few things, like the bushes and stuff, but not like the wall stuff is later.
God,
it is nice that every weapon can essentially cut down stuff, so that is a nice touch.
Yeah, but then you have the actual full utility of it, where the sword is really good for these wide berth attacks and even getting the spin charge out of it. The axe is good for destroying things like walls. The spear is good for long range, and then you get the bazooka and you can start buying special ammo for it if you did that correctly at the very beginning of the game.
I had the bazooka, but I didn't have any ammo until very late in the game. And I had ammo I never used, like any other, like the correct way to play a game. You buy all the ammo and you don't touch it.
Of course.
Honestly, I forgot about it. What happened? I forgot I had it. So when I did that final boss fight, I didn't use it, which I should have.
Probably should have, but it's fine.
I let the dog just fight the final boss fight for me.
Yes, the good old boy.
Man, that dog is great.
That dog is super good. I mean, it's not like... I find it really funny that Carltron, right at the very end of the game, his final form is really just a shoot down. It's like he just shoots straight down, and you kind of don't have
it's not
to
hard.
really... Yeah.
I think the game knows, like, we put you through so much hell, we'll make this easy. I mean, the final boss fight is also 3 different things you have to do before you get there. You got to fight the raptors, you have to kill the cleaning bots that come up, and you have the death spiders that reminded me of Stargate SG-1.
Oh, the replicators!
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff you have to do before, and then you have to fight some other boss before you get to the final butler. Like, there's a lot. So the game's just like, okay, we're sorry. And the fans before you even get there. Don't forget the fans.
Yes, destroying all the fans while he's shooting at you. Yes, very, very good.
So the game had done enough at that point to be like, okay, we're sorry. We understand. We suck.
I mean, I don't think the game sucks. I just think it's challenging to a fault, and I would love to see this get a remake and have some quality of life stuff, because it really is different to other things that Square has made.
No, it is not a bad game. I mean, all you really would need, and I said this earlier, but I'll say it to you too, just get your opinion on it. If you had a way to transport back to Prehistoria after you leave it, so you can buy alchemy ingredients that you need or want again, and if they lower the difficulty a little bit, this game would actually be a decent game to me.
Yes. So you can go back to Prehistoria with the sort of heli bike thing.
But not until you get it, which is after you almost finish the third world.
Yes.
And that's too late in the game if you need ingredients that you can no longer buy.
And it also could do with a new, I don't want to say a new map, but if they made the map easier to use, like a modern game.
Wait, there's a map in this game?
Well, no, but that's what I mean.
Okay.
Like when you're when you're using the bike, the fact that it's just an overhead, like when you use the dragon in Mana.
You could use a map like FF6 or something simple. But, game came out before this. Like, it does hurt that there's nothing there.
Exactly.
And what did you see? You have played Secret of Mana also, haven't you?
I have played Secret of Mana. Not to completion.
What did you think of that? What did you think of Secret of Mana?
I got damn near the end.
Okay. Because I want to know your opinion as somebody who played this game first, where most people see this game as a copy of Secret of Mana. It is. I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this. What did you? It's fine. Your opinion is always valid.
I like this more than Mana, but I feel like it is a case of whatever one you play first is going to be the one that you choose.
100%.
That sucks to say, but that is how it is.
No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that is the truth. So, hey, I don't think I have any other. What did you think of this? Do you like the story altogether? Like the fact that it's very kooky and quirky?
Yes, because I'm like a big fan of B movies. I probably, if I had not watched had played this game, I wouldn't have later on started watching stuff like The Toxic Avenger.
My condolences for that one.
Hey, I like trauma films, but I also have a friend who has been in trauma films and has met Lloyd Kaufman a bunch of times. So yeah, this game has put like a lot of different the love of different things inside of me. You know, this was my first real quirky game, I want to say. Like, I remember having the 13 SNES games growing up. I don't remember us buying anymore. My earliest memory is we already had these games. And it's such a wide list of different genres and styles that if it wasn't for my family having these games, I probably would not be the person I am now, recommending half the stuff I do on the Discord. I'd probably just be the average, Call of Duty Fortnite player, and I don't want to be that. I want more stuff like this, where they're, again, willing to take a chance and take even stuff that you are normally used to in this type of genre and doing something new with it, like the Alchemy.
Sure, the Alchemy, I would have liked better if I could buy items reasonably at every shop. Or at least
I can understand that, but I do
common items. Like my heal spell, I should be able to buy those items at all times.
Yes, I agree with that, and I do agree that there is a kind of a problem with, again, if they were to remake this game, one of the quality of life things I would do is add more alchemy ingredients that are naturally in the ground, because it doesn't seem like the dog really sniffs them out that much as often as he should be able to.
He's a dog, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like the whole thing, is even if you're playing as the dog, you can hold the shoulder buttons, L or R, and he'll sniff around, and if you just let go of the directional pad, he will search.
Oh!
And while I like
know
that, it doesn't work as often as it should, which is a bummer. I would also, it's really surprising that, maybe I'm misremembering, and Mike, you would have to rectify if I'm wrong or not. Secret of Mana, the SNES did have a multi-tap.
Yes. Secret of Mana is multiplayer.
Okay, so you could do 3-player co-op.
Yes.
This is the same engine, same style of game, no multiplayer, despite the fact that the SNES by itself has 2 controller slots.
Bitch. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, I see what you did there. No, give me multiplayer. I want couch co-op with this game.
I thought the game had it. It was actually in the recording earlier. We talked about it, and someone's like, "No, it doesn't have." I'm like, "What?" It's like it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense, especially again with the fact that Secret of Mana does. I want to say the year before this with a multi-tap, because it's 3 players. There's no sense as to why they did it. Maybe it was because they were upping the graphics, and there's a little bit more to this game than Mana. Maybe they couldn't fit the code for multiplayer on the cartridge. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
I'm going to say it was a choice.
It's a dumb choice, and they need to rectify it with, like, hell, even just porting it to the Switch Nintendo library and adding online multiplayer to the SNES emulation of it. That would be fantastic. I would take just that and be happy.
Yeah, it's we talked about this too, but it's too bad it never got ported again. That it's locked to the Super Nintendo and it's never been re-released because it didn't sell well.
So when they released Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo, or not on Super Nintendo, on the DS, I emailed Square Enix begging for a port of this game. Did I ever hear back? No, of course not. They probably want to bury this game more than anybody else.
If it makes you feel any better, some random intern read that and went, "Oh, that's nice," and then hit delete.
Yeah, probably. And to that random intern, fuck you.
Happened. To be fair, a lot of people actually don't read emails. I've learned. Or they read them and ignore them. I've learned that too.
Gross.
I don't do it. I read almost every email, and if it's something that needs my response, I respond to it. If you ask me a question, I respond. But I have found out multiple times that I am unique in that case. And have been told that by people.
I read them on 3 of my email accounts. I don't read my emails on the 4th one because it's a lot of, here's a promotion. And I'm like, I don't care about the promotion for a place where I lived back 8 years ago.
Work emails. I don't read the crap that they send me in my email address. I could give a shit. I mean, work emails I read, but that's a different person. Hell, this podcast has an email account that I don't promote because I haven't logged into it in probably like 5 years. So.
Oh my God, Mike.
It wasn't my idea to make it. It was someone else's that was going to run it and is no longer here. No, they're not dead. They just stopped talking to me. So,
no, I understand. But I know who it is too.
No, you don't. Not who you think it is.
Not who I think it is, huh?
No.
Well, damn.
Right. Anything else you want to say about Secret Evermore? Should we go to Shelf Stack for you?
I can't think of anything currently. Probably 8 different things will show up later in my brain. I'll go, no, hey, we need to talk about this. But until then, no, I think I'm ready to give my verdict.
Okay. And what is your shelf stacker box, milady?
It fluctuates. Because we're talking about it right now, it's back on the shelf, but I could see it fluctuating between stack and a shelf because, again, I can see the flaws in it. And I know that there are flaws, but even then, it is a massive part of my childhood that has helped me develop into who I am today.
All right, we should go to Shelf Stacker Box. And Blake, since you're the whole reason I played this damn game, why don't you go first?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it does a lot of cool things, or tries to at least, a lot of cool concepts. It has great music. I think it's certainly better judged as a product of its time as opposed to like compared against modern design standards, because it is inexplicable and baffling how many obtuse nonsense decisions were made in this game, even in regards to some of the other games of its era. So as much as I like what it was trying to do, you don't get judged on what you're trying to do, so it goes on in the shelf.
And Carson.
Nah, it's a shelf. I want it. I want that box art just staring at me. And as I'm playing now, like going through it again, I'm really enjoying it still. And you can say it'll get worse or better, or it'll get worse over time. But as I've said, I'm a pretty tolerant of jank and whatnot. But yeah, it's a classic in my eyes, and in some eyes for a reason, I guess. I'm gonna bet, yeah. So yeah, shelf it.
And Joseph.
Oh, this one hurts me, but like I said, this was such a childhood classic of mine, but I gotta put it in the box now. It's just too many small things that just add up, and even looking at it in the context of when it came out, there were other RPGs that from the same company that were just doing it better. That being said, though, like I said, it's not a me game anymore. That being said, it is one that, maybe some small chance Square does decide to give this the remake treatment. I'd be there for that because I think it could really benefit from that. But yeah, unfortunately, I got to put this in the box.
Don't worry, you won't be alone, I promise. So I'll go next. I'm also going to put this in the box. I was angry at this game multiple times. I thought about quitting it. If it wasn't for this podcast, I would have quit it. And just to, to go out there and people say, well, it's a game of the time. I have played a lot of games that Square was involved in. Secret of Mana is 93. They were somehow involved in Breath of... I don't believe. Okay. Final Fantasy 1 and 2 are 94 for Nintendo. When they got re-released, I guess. Final Fantasy 6 is 94. Live a Live is 94. Front Mission is 95. Chrono Trigger is 95. Seeking Detsu 3 is 95. Secret Evermore is 95. How? How do you fuck up a game like this? Like 96, Super Mario RPG, Treasures of Rudra is 96. All great games, and they just shit the bed so hard with this game. Cool concept, cool story, but the gameplay made me want to break my Steam Deck a couple times. With save states, I was still getting angry, and I'm not an angry gamer that much, even though multiple things I'm talking about this weekend I'm upset about. So I'm not that guy. But yeah, this game hurt me in many ways, and I almost quit playing a few times. I'm glad I played it. I'm glad it's finally off my backlog. But yeah, I never need to see it again. Never. Like going in the box. But I don't regret my decision. I'm glad that this game will forever be a part of games my mom found now. So there is that. Yeah. Okay. Any other... Okay, yeah, you don't have anything to plug, correct?
I really don't have anything to plug, really.
Okay. And I should say what we're talking about next week. Next week, you can hear me talk about Onimusha Dawn of Dreams. So that will be next week's episode. All right, and if you enjoyed this episode, over 750 other episodes of this podcast, we do games, movies, comics, TV shows, all sorts of content. You can find everything we do on Podbean. If you want to hear more Square games, just search things. We've done a decent amount of Squaresoft stuff on this podcast. Not as much Final Fantasy as I should. I will say that. Nowhere near as much as I should have. But go check out our giant catalog. If you want to support the show, we do have Patreon for those dark vote in our Patreon polls. We have 1 to 2 polls a month. Great way to support the show. Great way to affect the show. Because there are things that will pop in those polls that will never come back because I don't want to actually do it. But I will if you make me. So, hey, for those $1. If you want to chat with us, if you want to be on the show, if you want to suggest things for the show, I promise at some point I will do. We have a Discord. Please join our Discord. You see a link in the show notes. We're a nice bunch. If you just want to lurk, I don't care. Make the number go up. Make me smile. I'm fine with that too. So you can turn off notification, never talk to me again. Just join the Discord and make the number go up. So I'm fine with that too. Please follow us wherever you get your podcast, rate and review us. Also, I'm going to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy Helena at Hell Has Free. You can follow her on TikTok and Instagram. Definitely go check her out. And check out a gamer who looks at 40 Bill Tucker. He's talking Final Fantasy, I'm sure, still forever, ever.
Hey, he's almost done with 7.
Yay.
He said he was going to stop. He's gonna make it like 9 or 10 and be done for a bit because I know he's getting worn to fuck out. But yeah, definitely go check out his podcast. Great show. And please rate and review us wherever you get your podcast. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube. Yeah, I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.